Hi, my name is Maria Gomez, and I'm going to be delving a little bit more into the good and the bad effects social media can have on an adolescent's self-esteem. Oftentimes, when we think about social media and teenagers and how it affects your self-esteem, we create this sort of negative correlation in our heads. We know that at this age, these individuals are really susceptible to their environments, and they themselves are just starting to figure out who they are and what they want and how they want others to perceive them. All at the same time, their bodies are going through these insane changes from one day to the next, and they have very little control on their behalf of these situations. And really all they can do is ride these waves and try to maneuver them the best way they can. And as if this mixture of emotions and coming of age wasn't hard on its own, we also throw social media into the mix. And it's not hard to see why social media plays such a massive role in adolescent lives. We're social creatures as is, and at this specific age, an age where things can be so confusing for ourselves, it's nice to have that external interaction and validation and just approval of others. Yet social media also serves as this constant daily portrayal of 1,000,001 images, all with these goals and expectations of what we should be and what we should look like and what we should aim to accomplish in life. And this really can begin to blur the lines for some of these adolescents who aren't really sure where they're going or what they want to do or what they want to portray. The further teenagers dive into social media, the more weary and unhappy they tend to become because of these images that they see. Many times they are met with these heavily filtered and unrealistic images and a warped sense of reality. And the sad part of this is how it can be being presented by either well-known influencers or celebrities, and even sometimes their friends and family. And it really does create the sense of it being genuine when it's not. In this aspect, social media can be really detrimental to a growing individual's self-esteem. The bombarding of images showing perfection can be overwhelming, and this is one of the biggest issues with this topic. Oftentimes, once the comparisons between oneself and the images on the other side begin, internal issues begins to arise. Studies, which include individuals doing a number of self-assessments, have shown that after having them view another person's social media profile and see content that can be more successful than their own or a different reality than what they have, they end up finding themselves feeling a lot worse when we're doing those initial self-assessments. And really quickly, if we could just take a step back and look at the fact that in these social experiments, it's just one individual page that is being looked at and one individual interaction that's being gauged. And if we could just imagine how these feelings can multiply, seeing dozens of these profiles in an hour. And if you couple this with the heavy bullying, which is a secondary issue that social media still has and hasn't really tackled correctly, it's easy to see how it can lose any positive attributes that it can play to a teenager's lives. And we see the devastating effects bullying has and the constant belittling comments and how it can drive a person to a dark spot that they can't bounce back from. And that's something that definitely does need to be worked on. But with that being said, there might be a light at the end of this digital tunnel. A study showed that not all social media outcome can be bad. In fact, users who have positive interactions and feel a sense of community and support on their post and the content that they show on a day-to-day basis can actually redirect that positive energy and use it as a buffer for other negative things that may be detering them in their day-to-day lives. And I think that's a very positive note that we can take. And while there are a lot of dark clouds looming over social media, there is still hope and space for a positive approach and outcome. A lot of movements have also been made to dismantle the hate and unrealistic expectations social media has created. Campaigns like Love Your Body, That's What's Underneath, and Less is More all aim to take a stance against the unrealistic body notions and show people with diverse looks coming together and loving each other and themselves. Big brands like American Eagle and Target have also changed their media approach to be more inclusive, and it's being especially targeted to like the teenage population, which really does help that positive approach. Celebrities have also been using their platforms to push for self-acceptance and higher self-esteem, and the whole notion of, unfiltered and realistic and just very genuine. And anti-bullying campaigns have been gaining momentum as well, and you can see how these amazing individuals really push to change the negative narrative surrounding social media right now. And just showing that embracing their individuality and embracing their flaws and looking at the good in others are all small steps these individuals in these campaigns and platforms can take that create a massive ripple of positive change. And at the very end of the day, it all comes down to perception and engagement. The type of images teenagers are subjected to and the interactions that they have with others can really make or break the experience. and social media has been known to have devastating effects on teenager self-esteem. But with the correct shift and the correct positive light being shined on this problem and good approaches and interventions being formed, social media could become a positive platform and a safe place for adolescents and their self-esteem and self-perception.